PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's time for the podcaster that's here to keep you company, take your mind off of stuff, and meander, go off topic, get mixed up. It's time for the podcast that's never going anywhere all the time. Or something. I thought we had a catchphrase, always going nowhere. I think that's what always going nowhere. I think that always going nowhere, I don't know if you'd put it in parentheses, but I think that might have been our catchphrase, but I'm not totally sure. I can't remember. End parentheses. The only catchphrase with PS, PSS, and more. It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to take your mind off stuff and put you to sleep because, one, you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a place you could rest and get some comfort. That's why I make the show. Also, I know how it feels, tossing, mind racing trouble, getting to sleep, so do like a lot of other people listening. So this is a show to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so that you could fall asleep. I'm so glad you're here. The show is going to start off with a little bit of support. Then there's going to be a long, meandering intro to help you wind down. And then we'll be talking about an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation that may or may not have become a series, an animated series. But it'll be more like a meandering bedtime story to keep, like I said, keep you company, take your mind off stuff so you could fall asleep. It's a bit different. So give it a few tries, see how it goes. And as I've already said, and as there'll be a lot of repetition in this, always repeating, never the same. It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do this for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix. Get over to helixsleep.com, and I want you to take that 2-minute sleep quiz, helixsleep.com/sleep. Let me know what mattress you get matched with. You know, I have the Helix Dusk Deluxe. That's because I sleep hot. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. But Helix has a bunch of different mattress models to choose from, and I want you to start the new year right. Think about your sleep and think about the mattress you have. Take that quiz. Just see what you get matched with. Let me know. helixsleep.com/sleep. Helix is a premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses that are based on your unique sleep preferences. They have 14 unique mattresses. That includes a collection of luxury models, a mattress for big and tall sleepers, even a mattress for kids. And I talked about how that Helix quiz helps you match a mattress that works best for you. And that personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. And Helix knows there's no better way to test out a mattress than at home by sleeping on it. And that's why they have a 100-night risk-free trial. You get to try out your new Helix, see how your body adjusts. If it's not the best fit, you're welcome to return it for a full refund. And as I said, Helix knows everybody's unique, everybody sleeps different. That's why they have so many different mattress models to choose from. There's models with memory foam that provide pressure relief if you sleep on your side, models with more responsive foam that cradles your body if you're your stomach or back sleeper, enhanced cooling features to keep you from overheating, and if your spine needs some extra TLC, every Helix mattress is a hybrid design that's individually wrapped steel coils with premium foam layers on top. Perfect combination of comfort and support. Like I said, I love my Helix Dusk Deluxe. Keeps me cool, keeps me comfortable. And not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, but it's so fast and easy. Comes straight to your door, shipped for free. Helix mattresses are American made. They come with a 10 or 15-year warranty, depending on the model. And you get to try it out 100 nights risk-free. So take that quiz. If you don't love it, I mean, I know you will, but if you don't, they'll pick it up for you, give you a full refund. And if you don't want to take Scoots' word for it, Helix was the #1 mattress pick by GQ and Wired magazine, recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving your sleep. So take that quiz, helixsleep.com/sleep. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows at helixsleep.com/sleep. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. It's the one part of the podcast I need to hear. It's where I thank the listeners who support the sponsors. And right now, we don't have anyone to thank. I am making some changes on the back end because the sponsors really are what keep the show coming out for free twice a week. So I'm on it making changes so you don't got to worry about the podcast going away. But if you want to help, you want to be a part of, make sure to use that link, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, even giving feedback, but checking sponsors out, letting them know you supported them. It's a huge help. I appreciate it. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. And if you support one of those sponsors, let me know about it so I can thank you right here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. And you can be a part of this Deep Dark United thing we're doing simply by using that link and being a participant in the show. Thank you so much. That's the first part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is about you getting the support you need right now. If you're having a tough time and you need extra resources, there's links to there's links in our show notes to resources you could connect with, including internationally. Please use those resources. It's also about being a part of communities, being a part of positive change. You know, Scoots is someone who's, I've tried to change for the better by learning more, taking positive action. And there's links to the show notes where you could do that. Not just say Black Lives Matter, not just say stop API hate, not just say support Ukraine, but learn more and take positive action. Be a part of positive change. One of the things we're doing as a Sleep With Me community is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness. And guess what? You can participate for free. Just be a part of, come hang out, watch a live show, maybe build some hygiene kits, maybe connect with other listeners, maybe buy some hygiene kits. You could learn more. There's a newsletter. It's only about building hygiene kits and when we do the free live streams. And that's at sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight-mission, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight-mission. And that's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Oh, Mystery Bart. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, if you want some sleep phones, the most comfortable way to get listen to Sleep With Me branded sleep phones, you can get them at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones, and use Sleep With Me to get a nice discount on your order. Thanks, everybody. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night, tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is to create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, like things you're, thoughts, things you're thinking about. So thoughts, I guess, about the past, the present, the future. Thoughts, I guess. Like, I don't even know. My thoughts were like, yeah, I guess you could call us thoughts. Feelings. Any feelings coming up for you about those thoughts, related to those thoughts, or feelings that are just there? May have detected. I got a little bit of a cold I'm recovering from right now. I got some thoughts and feelings about that, and physical sensations. So if it's physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine, a little bit of little seasonal something, that's what I'm dealing with. It could be guests, you could be traveling, you could have something coming up. whatever it is that you're dealing with, I'm here to keep your company and take your mind off so that you could fall asleep. And that's the reason we make the show, is because you deserve a place where you could get some rest. You deserve a bedtime you could feel neutral about, or ideally look forward to. Say, well, at least at bedtime I got that podcast guy goes on and on about nothing. Because if you get the sleep you need, your life's going to be more manageable, right? And then you could be out there living your life. And if you get the rest you need on a regular basis, you can be out there flourishing. And that means not only is your life better, but the world we live in is a better place. So that's one half of why I make the show. The other half is, and I'm not just saying this, as you're listening, there's a lot of other people listening that can relate to how you feel. If this is your first time here, I mean, I can list a lot of words around bedtime and bedtime solutions. You know, it's been tossing, turning, trouble, all that stuff. There's a reason we call it the deep, dark night on this show. There's a lot of feelings, and whatever it is that you're going through or that's keeping you awake or the reason you can't sleep, while there might not be someone listening that's experienced the exact same thing, a lot of us can relate to how it feels. And so that's why I make the show. What I'll do is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones and pointless meanders, which means my voice is not traditionally soothing. It's more of mildly not bad and slightly distracting. And then pointless meanders and superfluous tangents mean I'll like go off topic, I'll get mixed up, then I'll repeat, and then I'll say, wait, what was I thinking about? And then I'll say, like, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, I was talking about this thing, and then I thought about this other thing. So all to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so you can fall asleep. And there's a couple things to know. This is a podcast that really isn't here, even though it's a sleep podcast. It's a bit strange, but this is the sleep podcast that doesn't put you to sleep. It's more here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff, more so to put you to sleep. And it's more of a podcast you just kind of barely listen to, like a little bit more than background noise. Background, not elevated background noise. I don't know, what would elevated background noise be? Like trained crickets, like harmonizing crickets, or you'd say, oh, well, it was recorded in France. Oh, okay. So it's elevated background. Or you could, I would take it literally. Oh, yeah, we recorded it on elevator here. Oh, here's a wild idea. I'm sure it's happened before. Elevator music recorded on elevators. Is that a Brian Eno album? I don't know if it is, but, I'm sure if that hasn't been done before, please do it. Like, live elevator music on elevators. It would be great if it could be on, what are those called? Like, glass elevator. So we could watch it, and maybe like, then you can have a larger audience, like, cause you have then you have some sort of amplification. Is this idea just only coming together for me? But, you have half, I don't know what are the usual pieces of elevator music. Let's just say it's a quartet. How come there's not more, I guess because people have to use the elevators. Okay. There's an obvious answer. Okay. Point taken. So, maybe there's a place that has a bunch of extra elevators or something, but, you could still take the elevator. That would actually make it even better. Like, people get on the elevator and you say, oh yeah, we're in the middle of playing a set. There's a concert in the lobby. It's elevated elevator music live. Though it's not sometimes it's descending elevator music, and sometimes it's ascending. Oh, I thought, oh, this is supposed to be a sleep podcast intro? Okay, but I'm not on an, oh, I'm only on an elevator in my imagination? Oh, boy. Okay, so this is a podcast you don't really listen to, and it doesn't put you to sleep. I'm here to be your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore bestie, your neighbor. I don't think, sorry, I'm jumping back, pointless meander or whatever. I don't think I could do a live sleep with me on an elevator just because you say, well, what is it? But it'd have to be elevator music, you know? I mean, I don't know what else it could be. Maybe some sort of performance. I don't know. Are there any Shakespeare plays that would be suited for performance on an elevator? I mean, I guess there's that Aerosmith song, Aerosmith, live from the elevators. But then they say, well, Steven did not want to play Love in an Elevator, though. Too on the nose. And then everybody would, I mean, I think we say, well, they didn't play Love at an Elevator, I want a refund. Okay, well, this is an imaginary, oh, okay. Yanni, live from elevators. I'm just trying to think. It's the elevator tour, the elevators tour. Yanni, the elevators tour. I don't know, be like, we'd be able to sell a lot of tickets, obviously. I mean, maybe somebody with a big budget, like, they could have their whole stage set up. I'm sure that a lot of performers with, like, really expensive stage shows have had elevators before, but not an actual glass elevator that goes up like 10 floors, like more of, dramatic elevators or, elevators that are like kind of like cages or whatever. So anyway, what was my point? Oh, it's a podcast you really don't I'm here to be your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore bestie, your neighbor, your bore friend, your friend in the deep dark night. I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so you can fall asleep. Now I'll be here to the very end. If you can't sleep, don't worry. I'm here to keep you company whether you're awake or asleep. Or if you need episode after episode after episode. Whatever it is, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so that you can fall asleep. I'm here to be your friend in the deep dark night. So those are two things, it's a podcast you don't listen to, doesn't really put you to sleep, only takes your mind off stuff. A couple other things. It does take a few tries to get used to this show. And I don't say that for my benefit. I say it for years. There's like tons and tons of listeners who said, took 2 or 3 tries before I became a listener to this podcast. And a lot of people, they listen once and they say, I'll never listen to that again. And then years later, they say, maybe I'll listen to that sleep podcast again. Someone else recommended it. And then on their second or third try, they say, oh, when he says it's never gets started and never going anywhere, he means it in a good way. Says this podcast is going nowhere slow. That's the point of the show. Because understandably, if you've been having trouble sleeping for a long time and you've tried a lot of different stuff, you're skeptical and maybe you're saying, well, I'd just like to get some sleep. So if you arrive at this show skeptical or doubtful or that's totally normal, but give it a few tries and just see how it goes. Cause it does take a while to get to that of like, oh, it is like a active background noise or something. It's background noise I kind of listen to until I fall asleep. But it does take a couple tries to get used to it. If you already know you don't like the show, you could check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. That has a list of other sleep podcasts and sleepy audio on there because you still deserve a good night's sleep, whether this podcast works for you or not. So let's see. Podcasts, you don't really structure. Oh, structure the show. That's the next thing. It takes a few tries to get used to. Oh, structure the show also throws new listeners off, totally understandably. The show's designed in a specific way because it just goes out as a podcast, but you can adjust how you listen as you become a regular listener. But the show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in and you say, oh, this podcast maybe is a friendly space I could check out. And usually I try to say something funny or I forget. And then, I just be myself. And you say, oh, okay, this is a little bit different. So that's the greeting. Then there's support for the show, because the goal of the podcast is to be free twice a week. And that's made possible by the sponsors and the people that support the show and the sponsors. And that's cool. You say, oh, wow, I don't got to subscribe or anything. Just free when I want it. Then there's support for listeners who are having a tough time, support for communities around the show. Then there's the intro. And we're already like 10 minutes into the intro or so, but the intro goes on and on and on. And a lot of people say, isn't there a more efficient way, or isn't this navel gazing, or is this part of the support? But no, the intro is a 10 to 20 minute or somewhere in between introduction to the podcast, meant to introduce new listeners to the show. But for regular listeners, it's kind of familiar every time, but it also is different every time. So you say, oh, okay, I have some familiarity with the structure of the intro, but whatever Scoots is going to go on a tangent about, he doesn't even know. And he'll probably even forget halfway through it. But the intro also is meant to ease you into bedtime, to help you wind down. There's like a percentage of listeners that skip the intro. There's a percentage of listeners that fall asleep during the intro. But for most listeners, it's a matter of getting in bed and getting comfortable, or doing some sort of other wind down activity while they're listening to the intro, or getting ready for bed, to slowly lower the volume, to have a transition from wake time to sleep. So that's what the intro does. Then there's more support for the show, and then there'll be our story. And tonight will be a recap of an episode of TNG, Star Trek The Next Generation. It returns after a little while. We return to watching some TNG. And so that'll be nice. Even if you're not familiar with the show, it'll be a nice meandering discussion of it. And then there'll be some thank yous at the end. So it's the structure of the show. That's why we make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I really appreciate you coming by and checking this podcast out. I work hard. I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. So thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Have you tried the Name Your Price tool yet? It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be able to find a rate that works for you. It's just one of the many ways you could save with Progressive. Get your quote today at Progressive.com and see why 4 out of 5 new auto customers recommend Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. All right, everybody, we're talking about Season 7, Episode 15 of Star Trek The Next Generation, Lower Decks, which I think, and I'm not positive about this, so if you were confused when you saw the title, I know there's an animated show that's fairly new called Lower Decks, which I think this is kind of maybe the episode conceit about it, but I'm not positive because I have not seen Lower Decks. It is on my list of things to watch, though. But this starts off with Riker and Troy in 10 forward. And there's someone cleaning a table in the background. They're talking about crew evaluations. Riker's kicked back very casually. They both have pads. The game is on the table, the ball game. On their table, it's red and purplish blue balls. You get a couple good shots of that, the way it's stacked. Then we go to a crew table, and there's 4 crew members playing the ball game, but with black and white balls. And they're trying to have a good time, but they're talking about their evaluations, too. And one guy seems particularly stressed about getting a promotion. There's a Vulcan named Torek, who was very logical about things. But yeah, this guy's worried about it. But we hear a little bit about the Bajoran people, which comes in to be important. Roommate, Torek and the other guy are roommates. Very good laughs they have, or someone has a very good laugh. No dessert for Troy. We see the bartender, whose name I think is Sam, is stirring up trouble. But kind of in a friendly way. The first time I watched it, though, I was like, is this for real? And, they're also worried about who's going to be promoted to ops. That's like the biggest discussion. Then we go to the bridge after the scene ends. Let's see. But yeah, first is the Sam, the bartender, the new, what do you call that? The new person running 10 forward. I don't know if Sam's a human or not. But it says, two of you are up for the same job, by the way, for ops, which stresses the one guy out. Then the opening sequence goes. Then we're on the bridge. Enemy phasers, wharf glares, target destroyed. Salvacious of something, ensign, relay float, Lavelle. So that's one of the other ensign's names. Aye. One eye sufficient, dude. Oh, so Lavelle's the guy that worries. This is a training sequence, by the way. And Alpha shift was 7% slower than Gamma shift. I think that's what I put. New orders. Cito's on ops. Cito and Lavelle. Lavelle gives Cito the silent treatment for a little while because he's jealous that Cito's on ops. Fly under the table. Laughs. You did well. Riker has it out for me, though. Maybe Cito says, maybe Riker thinks they need more practice. Then we go down to engineering, and we see Torek and Geordi. And Torek, very good Vulcan, says, geez, I've been improving this new warp field where it's out of sync. 7% better. Dr. Nils Diaz. I'm just checking the thing. Is it playing? This is where we have Lavelle and Cito side by side on the bridge, talking about. Cito's trying to be very friendly with Lavelle, but Lavelle's more like, I'm too stressed, like very scootery, and I can't communicate. I'm too stressed. And says, geez, Riker didn't think so. Swear he's got it in for me. How come you're sitting in this chair instead of me? Well, figured I needed more practice than you do. And okay, now we're in engineering. And Jordan and Torek, you got a minute? Yeah, I'll just show you something. This is simulation. Improvising again, Ensign? Matters speaking. This is a computer simulation of a new warp field. Geordi thinks it's a problem. Your plasma flow nanocells are out of sync. No, that's deliberate. As you can see, this configuration has increased overall warp field integrity by 7%. Tori says, wow. Nils Diaz has been experimenting with this at the Tan Line Propulsion Lab. Never heard anything about it. Well, his findings haven't been released yet. But preliminary report is good I got it when I was at the academy. Jordy says, look forward to reading it. And Torek says, why don't we just set this up right now? Jordy's like, no. Got to do a simulation. He just wants to do tests. But Jordy says, no, there's variables you couldn't account for. And I'm quite thorough. I'm a Vulcan. Jordy says, you're going to need my authorizations. Okay, as you wish. If you have any other ideas, run them by me. Oh, I got other ideas. When can we meet? Jordy says, catch you later, dude. Says, I already have one logic-filled friend. Torek's confused. He says, hands behind back. Now we're in the med bay, and Dr. Crusher's working on something. She says, if you're worried about the evaluations, things are going great. This is Lieutenant Ogawa, or Ensign Ogawa. Says, okay, thank you. And she says, I'm going to recommend you to be a lieutenant, though, promotion. Lieutenant Alyssa Ogawa. Sounds wonderful. Talk to Riker. It'll be official as soon as evaluations are over. Ogawa's very happy. How are things going with you and Lieutenant Powell? Who's this mystery character in this episode? I don't know if it ever appears on, if I'm like, maybe I've seen an episode with this Andrew Powell, but she says he's preoccupied lately. Last night he canceled our date. He's working on some research proposal. He says he's been busy with it. And Beverly goes, yeah, sometimes I get busy with research too. So, and Lieutenant Gow says, I don't know. I wonder though, do you wonder? Yeah, why? And then Beverly says, sit down now. Let's talk. Tea time. And Ogawa says, I never met anybody like Andrew. It seems like we've known each other forever. You do seem well suited. So she says, I don't know. Something's going on. Maybe I'm blind with love, not seeing the warning signs. And, should I be worried? What do you think, Dr. Crusher? Am I not seeing everything? And Dr. Crusher says, I don't know. I think you're overreacting. Love, when love's in the air, it's in the air. If Andrew cares about you as much as, I think you'd have to do more than cancel a date. And Nagawa says, okay. And she nods her head. And she says, well, he'll have to deal with Lieutenant Ogawa now. Beverly goes, oh, yeah. So she heads off out of Med Bay, and we see the full stop, the Enterprise come to full stop. Then we're back at 10 forward talking. Sito and Worf are talking about degaussing dishes and sensors to find a lost puppy. Ops is different than tactical. And Sito says, I don't even know why I'm being considered for ops anyway. I'm a security officer. Worf says, well, I recommended you. She says, what? She goes, well, I'll try not to let you down then. And Lavelle's worried. What are they talking about? Torek says, why don't you learn to lip read? And maybe he's giving her pointers to get that ops position. Then Riker comes in. He says, hey, Ben, well, what's up? He goes, what are you guys on a first-name basis? He goes, yeah, I'm a civilian. I'm not in Starfleet. He's on off-duty. And Lavelle says, Riker probably sleeps in his uniform, man. Why don't you get to know him? Maybe he doesn't not like you. And Lavelle goes, no, he doesn't like me. He doesn't even know you. Go talk to him. About what? Well, I don't know, something you have in common. He likes jazz, poker. He's Canadian. This is what Sam, the bartender, says. The guy says, my grandfather's from Canadian. There's your in. But he gets up right as Sito comes to sit down. So I don't know if she took that as like an off thing. Goes up to Riker, says, good evening, sir. Riker goes to Lavelle. And he goes, what's up? What can I do for you? Oh, I was just getting a drink. And Riker says, your drink's full, though. What are you drinking? Volar, I don't know. What is Riker drinking? Let's find out. Tarkin Ale. Trachean Ale, I think. And then he's very scooter because my grandfather's Canadian. Riker goes, uh-huh. Are you one, too? Your grandfather? No. So the guy's like stepping on his own toes. Riker goes, I'm not Canadian. I grew up in Alaska. Okay, well, they both have snow, huh? Riker says, yeah, but been pleasant talking to you, dude. I was just sitting here by myself, and the guy walks away without either one of his drinks, the one he ordered or the one he had had already. Then we see the Enterprise again, sitting still. We're on the bridge. At first, this was very confusing me. Like, I thought this was a whole training episode or some sort of, something was happening to the crew, but there's like a secret plan. They got an object 5 meters in length, escape pod. They're like, okay, it's inside Cardassian space. What are we going to do? How do we get it out of there? Well, we'll have to use, whatever, the transporter beam. So they're trying to figure out, they say, we got to get it off of this thing quick. Can't go into Cardassian territory. So they say, Geordi, got got to get this Jordy says, we'll try the frequency spread. Don't identify the life readings, though, Torek. Let's just get them aboard. No IDs. They get up to 107 or 109. They only need it at 107% of normal. Get a look back. Get a lock. Crusher's ready. She says, Lieutenant Nagawa, you got to leave. This is top secret stuff. Or Alyssa, she says. Nagawa leaves med bay. Cito's guarding med bay. What are you doing here? Not supposed to let anyone in except senior officers. Something's going on. Yeah, I don't know what. And Picard walks by Cito, gives her a long look, then walks by. She looks concerned. Then he goes in. Then we have a shift change on the bridge where Riker is. Alpha shift's relieved. What's his name? Says he wants to stay on for another shift. Riker goes, it's not a good time right now. He totally is, what's that guy's name? I forgot his name. I'll remember, but, so he gets on the, thing. Then Riker leaves medbay and he tells Cito, with me, they head towards the, what is that thing called? The elevator thing. Lavelle comes off there, looks at Cito with Picard. He's like, oh boy, I'm not happy. Picard says to Bridge, they're pretty quiet on the, whatever that thing, trans thing. And he goes, are you a certified pilot, Ensign? Cito says, yes, sir. That's it. Picard's very stern-faced. They go into his office or ready room or whatever you want to call it. He sits down, and this is intense, man. He goes, how long have you been on the Enterprise, Ensign? 7 months. He goes, you're up for ops? You think you're up to it? She goes, I do. Right. Picard says, I don't know. Remember that stuff with Will, like everything that happened? Wesley Crusher? And you guys were racing hot rods? And she goes, yeah, I didn't, made a mistake. Racing hot rods. He goes, daredevil stuff. Can't do that on the Enterprise, but I didn't like the way you handled it. Got in the way of us looking into it. And she goes, yeah, you're right. I know, I made a mistake. And he goes, yeah, you did make a mistake. And you joined the other people making mistakes. He's very stern. And she goes, what do you think that tells me about your character? And she goes, you know what? Like, don't you know what it was like for me? She goes, I had to take my flight and test with the instructor because no one wanted to be my partner the rest of the time I was there. It would have been easier to quit, but I didn't. I stuck with things. Doesn't that say something about my character? Picard he basically says, boo hoo hoo. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy your time at the academy. Should have been expelled. And he says, he's very being Willy Wonka. I don't even know how you got on this ship. Dismissed. Which ends up, he says that, so it's interesting the payoff later. He stares after her as she leaves the office. That's another ad break. Then we're in the shuttle bay, Geordi and Torek's lasering his shuttle. Says, what are we doing, Geordi? Running tests? Why are we damaging the shuttlecraft? We're evaluating hull resiliency, dude. Doesn't make any sense. There's easier ways to do it. Geordi goes, it's a requirement. Nah, I don't think it is, Geordi. Or, whatever, Lieutenant LaForge, Commander LaForge or whatever. What if I do a low intensity, beam? Geordi goes, just do what I'm telling you to do. It's fine the way it is. Very grouchy. 4-second burst right here. And then Torek says, well, let me do it from another angle. Why? Well, if we're trying to make it look like the shuttle was damaged, this would be a better angle to do it from. Interesting coincidence, huh? And Geordi just says, yeah, Ensign, whatever. But Jordy goes, why do you think that? He goes, because it's a lot, he does, then none of that happened. But, Torik's like, I'm able to put a couple of these puzzle pieces together. And there's Torik. He's lining up another laser beam. And we go to Med Bay. Alyssa, I'm glad you're here. Beverly says, we got somebody, and it's a top secret thing. So you can't discuss this patient with anybody. And it's like, oh, it's a Cardassian. And a guy was like, holy mackerel, Polar are gone. Oh, then poker game time. So first we have the crew with Sam from the bar. I see, what is going on with this Cardassian space? Anybody know what's going on, Cito? I don't know. Wonder who was in the thing. And Sam says, it's Ambassador Spock. Torik says, unlikely. Ben says, oh, it's not Sam, it's Ben. He says, that's what I heard. And then they go, Alyssa, you hear anything? No. They go, where's Lieutenant Powell? He's doing a double shift. He's not playing poker. He's the worst poker player ever. That's what Lavelle says. Sam is Lavelle. Oh. So they're playing 5-card stud, I guess. And Lavelle has a big smile when he looks at his cards. Then we go to the officers playing poker. And they're talking about Powell double dating, maybe. And then they talk about Ensign Cito. Is Ensign Cito prepared for ops? I don't know. And Worf says, yeah. And everybody's betting. We see two different, so it's like parallel with like different bluffs going on. So right now it's Lavelle, Torik. Torik's like, you're not going to, then they're talking about Picard and Cito. So that doesn't make any sense. Can't believe Picard would say that kind of stuff to you. She goes, well, maybe he's right. And even Lavelle says, you're a great officer. You deserve that post as much as anyone else. And I won't be getting it unless it's up, if it's up to Riker. Worf says, Ensign Cito should have a chance to prove herself. And Riker says, well, I'm not convinced about Lavelle. Too eager to please. And Troy says, well, maybe he's just a nice guy. And so then Riker starts betting against somebody, maybe Geordi. And Troy says, you and Lavelle are alike. We're not at all alike. Beverly says, you're bluffing. Then we go to Lavelle, who's got called out on a bluff. And Ben calls his bluff, makes a big bet, all in. And Ogawa says, maybe you shouldn't try so hard with Riker. It doesn't matter if he likes you. He should respect you. And he must, if he's, on some level. And he says, well, maybe, it's easier just to not worry about it. And we go back to the poker. Are you in, Torik? Says 39-1 odds. I got to get out. So Torik folds. And Geordi's gives out, maybe they're playing 7-card. I don't know what you call this. 1 card down, 6 cards up. And, but I mean, Geordi, I don't know if this is good poker because Riker's showing a flush, I think. And they said Troy's still on Riker's case. Didn't this happen to you when you were younger? And they didn't hold it against you. Beverly laughs. Riker says, maybe I've been a little hard on Lavelle. Maybe you're right. Worf says he's not bluffing, but Geordi thinks he is. And he has a flush. I mean, come on, Geordi. Geordi says he can't believe it. But it's like, it was a 1 in 4 chance pretty much, depending on how many diamonds Geordi had. Lavelle was bluffing. So now everybody's like, I got to go to sleep. One more hand. No. Jordy quits just because Riker's unbearable, but I got to go down and do something in engineering. And next time I'll see you. Troy and Crusher say goodnight. Riker's very pleased. Cito leaves the game. And then Torek says, I'm surprised that LaForge didn't take me up on the thing. He didn't like it. And then they say, well, maybe he doesn't like the fact you know more than he does. Was that good for our relationship or not? And you go, well, it depends. And then that's when Geordi just shows up out of the blue and says, Torek, we got some work. I got to go down and do some work. You want to come with me? And, give me a hand. Torek says, I'd be pleased to, sir. Let's go. And says, oh boy. So they head out. And then it's just Lavelle and Ben. Ben goes, Lavelle says, I got to go to bed. Ben goes, come on, let's play some blackjack or something. And he goes, no, I got to go to bed, man. So Ben gets up. He goes to the officers' game and rings the doorbell there. They say, come on in. And he says, I just cleaned out the junior officers. How about I get in this game? Riker says, you're welcome to join us. Pull up a chair, Troy says. He gives a good laugh. And we go to an ad. It was like an inside joke. Then we go to a martial arts kind of class that Worf was teaching. And then he says, Cito, hang around. I get another group you could join, but you have to pass the Gital. Gital, she says, yeah. And he goes, oh, it's an ancient Klingon ritual. Makbara. And she goes, I should practice. And Worf says, no practice. It's part of the ritual. Test must be unannounced. And he puts a blindfold on her. And he says, okay, now you got to deal with me with a blindfold on. I don't have a blindfold on. And he says, the Gital has begun. Defend yourself. And, I mean, this is very mysterious because there's really no chance for her to defend herself against Worf with a blindfold on. But it is like, what's happening? It's very, so he puts her down once, and then he says, go again. Of course, she's unsuccessful again and moving around. And he says, come on, defend yourself. He goes, aren't you listening? And she tries one more time. And Worf goes in and rolls her. She bumps her head, and he goes, you did not anticipate. She takes off the blindfold, and she goes, how am I supposed to defend myself when I have a blindfold on? And he goes, stop making excuses. And she goes, no, this is not a fair test. Worf goes, whoa, boy, very good. You passed the challenge. And she goes, by taking off my blindfold? He goes, by saying the test's unfair. That's very courageous. And she goes, well, doesn't Gital mean Gital? And she goes, he goes, you speak Klingon? She goes, sir, is there such a thing as Gital? Or did you just make that up? And he goes, no. He goes, but if you're judged unfairly next time, maybe you'll speak up again. She goes, I guess he knows what's going on. All right, so then we see the Enterprise again. Cito's speaking to Picard and saying, hey, I can't change the past. No one can. I can just work hard and earn the respect of the people I serve with now. And if you're not going to give me the chance, transfer me. Picard goes, you looking for someone more lenient? You're not going to find anyone. And she goes, permission to speak freely? And the guy goes, please do. She goes, if you don't want me on your ship, you should have said so when I got assigned here. It's not your place to punish me. I worked hard here. I've been a good record. If you're going to judge me for what I am now. He goes, okay, I will. And he stands up. And he goes, it took courage to come here and face me after what I said the other day. And he goes, I didn't ask you because I was assessing you for ops. She goes, I don't understand. He goes, I was harsh with you because we have an important secret mission. And it's not going to be easy. And I wanted to see how you'd react under pressure. And he goes, come to the observation lounge 0900 and we'll discuss the mission. Okay, yes, sir. And Ensign, I do know why you ended up on the Enterprise. I asked for you. And he goes, I want to make sure you got a chance to redeem yourself. And she goes, thank you, sir. And she heads off. Card stares after her, takes a deep breath. Go to the bridge. A gal is there with Crusher. And Crusher says, I've really become to depend on you, and I've recommended you for promotion. And she says, thank you, doctor. And she goes, also, I think of you as a friend, and I really care about you. And Ogawa says, that's nice of you to say. I feel the same way. And Beverly says, how about you and Andrew Powell? And she goes, did you hear already? She goes, well, we were going to keep it a secret, but we're engaged. And Crusher says, I'm so happy. I'm so relieved. Then we have Sito going into the observation lounge, the Cardassians there, along with Worf, Riker, and Picard. And she looks at the Cardassian, Joret Dahl. This is who was in the escape pod. Member of the Cardassian military, but also Federation operative. Risked his life, bring us secret intel. And, like it can help your people, the Bajoran people, and other planets in the sector. But we got to get him back because they don't know he's a spy. And it says, okay, that's not going to be easy to get across the border again. His ship was destroyed. So we're going to make it look like he stole a shuttle. And he'll attempt to talk his way past the patrol. But he goes, yeah, if I have someone with me, like, then I can look like I went and got you. That's why I crossed the border, and I can get the patrol to look the other way, taking a Bajoran in, and then we'll send you in an escape pod back across the Enterprise. We'll pick you up. And he goes, you know what you're signing up for, huh? Like, it's not going to be easy. And Sito says, I volunteer. And Worf goes, are you sure you were going to volunteer? You're Bajoran. She goes, yeah, I know the importance of things with Cardassians. So, yeah, I made my choice. And she goes, go to sick bay, and Crusher will explain what's next. Don't discuss this mission with anybody. Yes, sir. And Sito looks at Worf like a kind of like a thank you, and thank you for opportunity and defending me. And the Cardassian's like, Jesus, like, I didn't think it would be someone that's like super young. I don't know, stresses me out. Then we go back to the Enterprise. We see the shuttle getting prepped. Geordi's prepping it. Worf's on there. The Cardassian gets on there. Sito's undercover now. She got some makeup on to make her look like she's been with the Kardashian working together. And says, geez, I want you to know I really appreciate your confidence in me. Worf says, okay, good luck. I'll see you soon. Okay. You go to get on board she gets on the shuttle, goes to the cockpit, sits next to the Kardashian. Worf watches, and the door shuts. Worf looks worried. The shuttle takes off. Stunt makeup. Yeah, that's what it said. Good luck. See you soon. Walks off. Worf face. Goes to a break. After then we see the shuttle cross the screen. Then there's shuttle tension. Approaching the border. They're going to find us soon by the patrols. And, should I say anything? And he says, no, it seemed like make sure I'm in charge. If you're asking any questions, look to me. And she goes, can I ask you something? Like, why are you doing this for Starfleet? Aren't you a Cardassian? He says, I'm not a traitor. He goes, just believe that WAR, what is it good for? Nothing. He goes, I thought that was a way, but now I realize it's just a platform. And people love that, and it doesn't do, what is it good for? Nothing. He goes, this can keep any battles from going on. I'm sick of it. So good. My people need peace. And she says, I never thought I'd hear a Cardassian say something like that. And never thought a Bajoran would help our Kardashian get home. So then we get a beeping. Patrol ship's moving in. So they get ready. We don't got much time. Then we see the Enterprise again. And we're at 10 forward. What's going on? There's no explanation towards Cardassian space. Shuttle was damaged. Can we talk about something else? Sam's the only one that doesn't know anything, so he's asking all these questions, but everybody else has sworn to secrecy. So we don't need to know everything. He goes, well, we should tell each other what we know. And he goes, you two know stuff. They go, yeah, we're Federation, man. We got to keep. He goes, we're Starfleet officers. So we're not allowed to talk about it, period, full stop. He goes, okay. He's a little frustrated. He goes, I better get going. I got duty in a half hour. Torek and Alyssa share looks. 47566.7 captain's log. I think that's the first captain's log. We're supposed to meet up with Cito. No sign. 30 hours we've been waiting. And no sign. And they're pacing around the bridge. Report. Long wave scan. Nothing's out there. And maybe there's something else, inorganic matter. We're not, throwing off the scans. Data says narrow the field. And Sam says, well, help if we know who we're looking for. Bajoran life signs is what we're looking for, dude. Nothing yet. 32 hours overdue now. Worf says, let's launch a probe, increase the range of sensor sweeps. They say that's a treaty violation, though. Riker says that's Picard. Picard takes a breath. Send a probe. Worf, they send out the probe, and probe's launched. And pretty quickly we get the results. And Data says, yeah, debris. 200,000 kilometers into Cardassian space. It is a former escape pod that has gone to another dimension. And everybody gets a look. Captain's log supplemental. Yeah, we got a thing about a Cardassian and Bajorans, and we don't know what happened, but it was very brave. We know that. Then when the bosun's whistle sounds, Picard makes a speech. Starfleet personnel, this is Captain Picard. Ensign Cito Jaxa, as no longer working on the ship, has gone to a new dimension. And a young woman of remarkable courage and strength of character. And, I'm going to miss her. We all will. Picard out. Picard leans back in his chair, takes a breath. Another shot of the Enterprise. And Worf sitting alone, looking at something. I don't know what. Rainbow drink gets brought over. Then Tora Kagawa and what's the guy's last name? I forgot. Lavelle are sitting there. And Lavelle's like, I got promoted. And you say, congratulations. And he goes, yeah, thanks. Great. Just doesn't feel right, though. Maybe she was going to get the promotion. And they say, come on, man. She would have been happy for you, Sam. And the best way to remember her is to excel in your new position. Lieutenant Ogawa puts his pip on him, touches his pip. We're proud of you, Sam. No, Ogawa doesn't have her pip, second pip yet. Then they try to get Worf to move. They say, we got to move this table. Worf glares at him. Ben goes, there's an empty seat at that table with the people who are friends with Cito. And Worf goes, I get what you're kind of trying to do, man, but I'm an officer. They're enlisted or whatever. They were friends. He goes, you were friends with her. Come on. She considered you a friend. And Worf goes, okay. I guess. He doesn't say anything. He says it all with his face, including like a glare, but a positive glare, I guess. Pulls his shirt down, goes over to the table, and looks at all the three friends of hers, and sits, and they smile. They welcome him in. He nods, and the Enterprise heads off. Okay, but so I'm going to look up Star Trek Lower Decks, just so we have some info on it, for the new show. So Star Trek Lower Decks is an American adult and animated television series created by Mike McMahon. This is from Wikipedia. For CBS All Access, which is now Paramount Plus. It is the 9th Star Trek series. It was launched in 2020 as a part of Alex Kurtzman's expanded Star Trek universe. Lower Decks is the first animated series since the 1970s Star Trek the Animated Series, and its first comedic series. It follows the low-ranking support crew of the starship Cerritos in 2380. Let's see. What do we got here? Work began in 2018. It was ordered for 2 seasons. What do we got? What else? The main cast was announced in 2019. And then the first 2 seasons, production got moved. And it features many connections and references to past Star Trek series. It premiered in 2020, 10-episode run first season, and the second season was released August to October 2021. Third season came out in 2022, and a fourth season is supposed to come out. The premise is that it's late in the 24th century. Earth is part of a multi-species United Federation of planets. Starfleet operates starships that travel the galaxies. And Lower Decks features one of Starfleet's least important ships, the USS Cerritos. And this focuses on the missions and adventures of lower deckers, low-ranking officers with menial jobs, while the captain and senior officers are supporting characters. And, we got Beckett, Mariner, a human ensign, daughter of Captain Freeman, and a irreverent rule breaker, but very good at all things Starfleet's. Brad Bormler, human ensign, stickler for the rules, but has to learn to improvise. Let's see, Devana Tendi, an Orion ensign in Medbay. Big fan of Starfleet, thrilled to be on a ship, and helps introduce the audience to the setting and the characters. Sam Rutherford, human ensign, but with some cyborg features, but different than Geordi. He solves things different because he's still learning. He's new to being a cyborg. Carol Freeman, the human captain, but, on a not important ship. Jack Ransom, that's the first officer, kind of similar to Riker, but even like a bit more extreme. Shax, a Bajoran tactical officer. Tayana, a Katian doctor, that's the head of medical. There's also an after show called The Ready Room, that's hosted by Will Wheaton. There's a comic book, video game, free-to-play video game. And let's see if there's anything else in here. I think that's it. So that's a little bit about, that's our first episode back with TNG. Good to be back with TNG. And like I said at the beginning, I thought this was a really good episode because, I didn't know what to expect. I'd never seen it before watching it the few times I did. So the first time I watched it, I was like, I thought it was one of those ones where either it was like a simulation for training or like where the lower decks had to take over the ship because the crew was under the influence of some outside force. And that's why they're acting so weird. But I think they were just acting weird because, it was just a stressful situation. So definitely I was a little bit misdirected, but it was enjoyable. Good to be back on the USS Enterprise. Good night, everybody. I don't think everybody became a patron recently. Sonia, Linda, and Adam. Thanks, and good night. Colby, Miffy, and Catherine. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Josie, Fred, and Brian. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Aaron, Scott, Skeptical. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Georgia, Amethyst, and Dylan. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Tiffany, Jeannie, and Mo. Thanks, and good night. Isabel, Candace, and Duck. Thanks, and good night. Siobhan, Amber, and William. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Lisa, Lauren, and Julie. Thanks, and good night. Gabby and Kieran. Thanks, and good night. And Jacob and Jesse. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks everybody who supports the show directly on Patreon or supports the show by other means or supports the sponsors, etc. Come out free twice a week. And thanks everybody that supports me and the podcast in other ways or spreads the word about podcasting in general. That's how podcasts grow, like word of mouth, even about podcasting. We don't have to talk about Sleep With Me. It'll come up at some point with the right people. So thanks so much. And I don't know if you knew this, but we got over 500 something episodes in the archives. If you listen all night or you're looking for something different, you can go all way back. And that's thanks to these Tuck You In sponsors. Thanks.